can't understand why we don't get more support for them though, because they are constantly, the insurance now, we've got the insurance down very cheap on them now, but the maintenance on them, you know, last year on the on the other one, on the Priscilla McBean, we had to put a new deck in that.
Yeah.
And that was £3,000.
Oh my goodness.
Which,
yeah.
you know, I have to raise.
Yeah.
John can't do it. John's very good at doing what he needs to do, but when it comes to talking to people, he gets a bit flummoxed at times. Of course, again, he's a bit on the deaf side, and he always said, I'll leave that to you. Last year, I bought a tandem, and I said there's me, John, I'm the chairman, vice chairman John, his wife is the secretary, and Bev is the treasurer. I asked James Bacon, deputy mayor, if he would be one of the trustees, and my nephew's over to be fishing. So hopefully James Bacon can take my job over, and my nephew can take John's job over, because like I said, we can't even get aboard the boats now. I bought a tandem. I said to James Bacon, James, I'm going to sell tickets for you to ride that tandem for 1066, 1,066 yards. Would you do it? You and your girlfriend, Bugsy. He said, yeah, I'll do that. So I phoned up Hastings Runners. I said, from the Priscilla McBean or the other boat, give me 1066, 1,066 yards. From the Ghost of Dunkirk, along the seafront, over Glowing Cap, down the other side to the second bus shelter along, public shelter, is 1,066. I said to John Bartholomew, John, if we have you there and the mayor and a big fanfare to send them off, yeah, he said, I'll do that. I said to the Bexhill mayor, would you meet him the other end? Yes, and we'll have all boys brigade and scouts and all that lot there. Of course, it was this year. All cancelled. But that's something else.
Hopefully only postponed.
Yeah, but that's something else that's in the pipeline to get done. But who's going to organise it now? I don't think I'm going to organise it.
But hopefully those people that are already in the wings knowing it's about to happen, hopefully, and yes.
See, she should have gone, that one down there should have gone to Dunkirk this year.
I know.
Yeah,
Isn't
yeah. I had to pick her up on a crane and to put her on a lorry. It was going to cost £1,000 a lift. When they lifted the other one in, at the end of the day, Bev went up and said, how much do we owe you, Mark, for putting Priscilla in? He said, it's taken me longer than I thought. I've had to have a support vehicle here with me. How much would you like to pay? Bev said, as little as possible. He said, then don't give me anything. Just give me a kiss on the cheek. So I went over this time and I said, Margaret, to lift up Priscilla, to lift up the Ghost of Dunkirk and put her on a low loader, how much? She said, I've got to charge you £1,000, but I know that when it comes to getting the money out of you, you won't pay. She said, I'm sure that you won't pay. She said, so it's £1,000 to lift it on the trailer and £1,000 to lift it back when it comes back. CPL, down Appledore, supply the trailer, take it over there, leave it over in Dunkirk for a week, bring the lorry cab back, and then pick it up a week later, bring it down, put it back, £3,000. He said, Adida, you know. He said, the last time it was going to be £3,000. You ended up giving us £1,500. So I, in my head, I said to John, we've got to get £5,000 together to move this boat to Dunkirk. Together. So I got a big board made, like that, nice fancy board. Said to our sign writer, if I can get 50 people to pay £100 each, and then we put it in the paper, the Bonfire Boys have now come aboard, they're part of the crew, and we'll write all this lot, And then when we move the boat out, we leave it there. Boat's gone to Dunkirk for the Dunkirk Little Ships reunion, and these people have paid for it to go. I got about 20 people. First ones I asked, would you give me £100 to send the boat to Dunkirk? I said, your name would be in the Observer, and your name would be up there on a board. Yep, that'd be wonderful. And then Dunkirk Little Ship said, sorry, you've got to cancel it. You know, which is a terrible shame. But someone has got to put all this together, and
Yes.
and well, you know, because you do enough organising of your own. What's he going to do next year? I don't know. Ever. I really don't. It's something that you should have known more about that than me, because you're younger than me. You've got more enthusiasm now than I have. I've still got the enthusiasm. I just can't do it now.
Well, you still have the vision as well, because you're still able to come up with these new little twists on things.
Yeah, but then if you can't do anything about it, because you've got a team around you. You know, you've got, for want of a better expression, the bonfire group, the boys, and you can. Which is what I used to say to Ian Porter. I used to say, Ian, you're very good at delegation. I wasn't very good at delegation because I used to come up with an idea and then do it. I didn't delegate it to somebody else. I was never that clever. That's the thing, isn't it? You know.
Yeah, but that's because, you know, you've also got, I mean, we say if one person does it, then everybody in the family does it because it comes into the home.
Yeah.
And that's what, you know, that happens because, you've got the same kind of teamwork that we've got in that sense.
Do you want a cup of tea?
No, we won't. Thank you very much indeed. Thank
when
you.
when it was collecting stuff for the auction, that was a job I hated doing because people every year they give you something, and Beth done it for about 8 years, and she said, I'm not going to keep going around asking the same people. I said, but they don't have to do it. And she said, I know that. I said, but then Johnny Swan, if you didn't go to Johnny Swan, you'd say, what was the matter with me then? Why did you avoid me? So you couldn't really win, you know. If you didn't go to them, they moaned. If you did go.
And I think that's something, I'm so pleased you've said that because you've mentioned obviously the high street traders a lot, and with Jack in the Green and Bonfire, we are so grateful to those businesses, and yet it's the businesses in 2020 as well as our charity events, as well as the fun that we bring to people, because absolutely we know that people make sure that their holiday is Old Town Carnival Week because it's the best ever, and yet yes, those businesses at the moment are also suffering. Obviously today, hopefully some of the pubs are open, but are they open? You know, are there enough people to make those viable?
Yeah.
And yes, as we're certainly in Bonfire, we want to give a thank you to all those businesses that have supported us in the past, even though we're not there as a Bonfire Society this year, because
I can remember one year we done the auction and people took their stuff away, various people who we knew, like if you was there and you said, yeah, I'll have that, it's £15, right, yeah, I'll have that, but I haven't got any money on it, but that's okay. And Carol, Ian Porter's wife, would just write down, heavily £15, and you would drop it in to me or Ian some one time or the other. So when it was over, Ian doesn't drink, but when it was over, I used to go straight over to the Jenny Lind, and I mean, they've had a huge crowd outside their door all evening, and they'd say, what do you want, dear? And I went over one night and I said, I want to have a nice red wine, please. And they put a bottle of red wine on the counter like that, and a glass. I said, thank you very much. I started, Bev was checking some money over there, and she come over, so I got another glass, and we sat and we had this, and I could just feel this unwinding. We went over, got the amplifier off the stage, got the microphone, put it in Ian's car, checked that all the lights was off, locked the little net shed there where the electricity comes from. And we was just leaving and a bloke come up High Street, and now it's 11:30, I suppose. And the car come up and stopped. The bloke got out, he went, D-Day? I said, yes mate. He said, I've just been along to Tesco's along the seafront. It's open 24 hours a day. I said, yeah. He said, I've been along and I brought you 2 bottles of red wine because I've been here all night and you haven't stopped talking all night and you've made people laugh and everyone's had a lovely night. He said, so it's 2 bottles of wine. I said, right, okay. He said, and we were sitting on the little wall there where Trickett's benches.
Yeah.
He said, now I would like it if you open one of them up. I said, I haven't got a corkscrew. But the Jenny Lynn still had lights on because they was clearing up. I said, open it up for us. I said, give us 3 glasses, can you? And we sat out with him, parked in the middle of the road with his hazard lights on, and he had a drink with us, which I thought was lovely. He didn't have to do it. He didn't have to come back, but he did.
And that's another D-Day road closure story.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was just things that the way it happened. I can remember a council official on the first year that we done the Bangers and Mash, the Last Supper. He sat there and I said, and it's lovely, eh? He said, there's 4 people from the council sitting here. He said, at work, we don't hardly talk to each other.
No.
He said, yeah, because they're busy.
Yeah.
One comes in, one goes out. He said, and this is absolutely superb. He said, D-Day, please, next year, get a road closure notice. I said, no. I said, that'll ruin it. He said, yeah, I suppose it will be. But who's going to do it? Who's going to take it over? The council will do it. When you go, somebody else will do it. We're not the only idiots in the world. But
no, we're definitely not the only idiots in the world. No, okay. And that's a recurring thing. Okay, and we've heard that message.
Yeah.
We will definitely look to.
I hope that it only gets bigger and better. I would like to feel that that you planted an acorn and it's going to end up being an oak tree.
And it's a beautiful oak tree.
Yeah, and I mean, from a financial point of view, yes, some things didn't earn a penny, but I went over the beach. I got an old bath like that, quite a deep one, no bigger than that suitcase, and I walked into that pottery shop. And I said, can you make me about half a dozen fish? He said, which one? I said, about that big. Well, I just drew it like that, just a flat fish. I said, put a hook in the top. I sprayed them gold, chucked them in the bath, and gave the kids a bamboo.
Yeah.
And what do you give them? They can see them on the bottom.
Yeah.
So you can't give them a lot. So I used to go down to the workshop and say, give me a box of the cheapest box you've got to give to the kids. God, bloody hell, Dino, you always want something for nothing. I said, yeah, I do, you're quite right. But it's all going to come back into the old town.
Yes.
And I used to say, it's a pound that goes around.
Yes, that is.
It goes around the old town.
That one
it
down
doesn't
too.
go anywhere else.
You.
And I used to say, we don't send it to Zimbabwe, we don't send it to South Africa. It's the pound that goes around. Harris sat down one night at a meeting. She said, after Carnival, she said, my granddaughter goes to that school on the ridge. I don't know which one it is.
Helenswood?
No.
Sundown.
Sandown?
Sundown.
Sandown. My granddaughter goes to Sandown School and they want a new roof on their swimming pool, and I've said that we're giving £1,000 towards it. I said, well, I don't think really you should have said that. I said, because I do think that's a committee decision, not Harris Woodcock's decision. I said, and I'm totally opposed to that. I said, because I spend all Carnival week saying all the money we raise stays here.
Yeah.
It's a pound that goes around. Yeah. And now you want to give it. I said, how many? She said, loads of kids from Hastings Old Town go up there. I said, why? I said, there's 2 schools on the way.
Yeah.
Why would they go all the way up there? Anyway, it didn't materialise, which is why she doesn't talk to me. So I don't know, but that's.
Yes, well, we definitely, that's a definite message we hear. You see, I thought, because obviously Carol has been supporting Jackie with the beach concert, I thought they had helped take over and support. I thought they were doing some of these other.
I don't know.
Oh,
You know, last year, like I say, I wasn't here, I was in hospital. So I don't know. And we was the worst disorganised group going, because I used to say to Ian about 2 months before, we better have a meeting. Oh yeah. And then suddenly it would be, well, let's have a meeting. What are we going to do? Who's going to do it? How are we going to do it? And then Ian would say, well, we better, me and Ian used to sit down and say, right, we're doing the programme now. What are we going to do on Monday? And we would write all that out, ready for the printers. I done it last year, but who's going to do it this year? Well, no, nothing. But next year, someone's got to do it. So I don't know. It's a terrible. This year, not the bottom out of it.
yes.
But it's a terrible shame that there wasn't. We had a meeting one night upstairs in the Jenny Lind, and there used to be a great big Indian fella, can't remember his name, and he had the land of green ginger. And he said, as a high street trader, why don't we have an evening, a committee meeting, and I will supply an Indian meal, just a snack, just a buffet. And we had about 20 people turn out. And they all said, yes, we'll come. Then we changed it to high street traders and friends, hoping that we could get more people to join. But it ended up, Carol Porter used to say, high street traders is you, me, Ian and Jackie.
Yeah.
Because that's all it was. And then Mike Waxworthy come along because of the bands. And but other than that, no help at all. And I thought it was a terrible shame that it dwindled away to what it did. I mean, it's still earned good money, but it could have earned a lot more money. A lot more money. And also, there could have been a lot more events put on. I mean, I've always said, why doesn't, I don't know how I would do it, but why doesn't Courthouse Street have an Easter egg hunt? You've got a garden at one end, you've got rainwater pipes all the way down. I'm sure that you could organise something like that down there. And when I said to Ian one year about it, he said, yeah, good idea, I don't know how you'll do it though, how you'll do it,
Yeah.
And it was all things like that, It was me or Beverly that had to go along and order 300 sausages to be picked up.
Yeah.
And then it was, we needed a fridge to put them in. We used to do hamburgers and at the street party.
Yes.
And
yes.
I went to one in Winchester. No, I didn't. I went to Rock'n'Roll Garage and they made me a barbecue. And then I went to Winchester and said, Uncle Ron in Winchester, Uncle Ron, we're using charcoal. Can you lend us a gas barbecue? He said, of course I will. Why don't you bring it back clean and you pay for the gas? That's all I asked, which is what we done. But then they changed their mind and said, no, we get outside catering in to do it. So, it's still moving around, it's still evolving. But at the end of the day, I wish that the older things had carried on, and I hope they still will.
Yes.
If the pipe trophies come back, I said to Gary last year, 2 years ago, Gary, I'll start it off. He said, you've got to start it off. You've got to warm the crowd up for me. if you start it off, I'll carry on. And I said, I mean, we had Rupert.
Yeah.
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 I mean, he done it in the news.
I know. That's the only 10 shilling note I wasn't going. I didn't pick up the saddle because of course we're at the top timing. I'm getting frozen. I need to tell you that. No matter how hot a day it is, the sun goes down, and then we're in that chill wind all evening. Yes.
I mean, but when he said, "Can I do it in the nude?" and I said on the microphone, I said, "I don't know if there's any children and you want to turn them away, you can." I said, "But if you're offended, look the other way. But if you're not, then chuck some money in the bucket, because that's what we're here for." I said, "And this man," I said, "I admire his pluck. He's got some balls to do it, as you'll all know in a minute." You know? And when he stripped himself off, and he got on the bike, as he was coming back down, I took all his clothes, I chucked them on the portico over top the crown.
Oh, brilliant!
Yeah, and when he come down, I said, "He's got an unfair advantage." I said, "He's got 3 legs." I said, and when he got down the bottom, he said, "Where's my clothes got?" I said, "Somebody just took them." I said, "Look, they've chucked them up there." He said, "Oh, I suppose I have to climb up there and get them." You know? And there was a woman standing next to me. I said, "Have you got an aerosol in your bag? Anything?" She said, "I've got deodorant." I said, "That'll do." I said, "Right then, Rupert, can you come over here?" I said, "Can you sanitise?" We didn't know that word in those days, but can you make your saddle fit for somebody else to get on? He said, "Oh yeah." He said, "Why's that?" I said, "Because you was naked on it." I said, hanging all over it. But yeah, he was a good sport.
Yes, absolutely.
When the copper come up, what was his name? He came in the tea shop about a week beforehand. He said, God, no, Beverly remember his name. He said, "You won't be able to do the bike ride this year, dear." I said, "Pardon?" He said, "You won't be able to do the bike ride this year." I said, "Why not?" He said, "Because you close the road off." I said, "We don't close the road, the road's open. There's a bike going up and down there, it can be closed." He said, "Well, you close it."
You see, this is what you get away with.
He said, "But cars," I said, "Cars go up there."
They do.
I said, "We do stop them and fine them because they know it's on." I said, "I put a black bill there early in the morning saying road closed tonight, bike ride tonight, proceed with care." He said, "But you put a black bin liner over the no entry sign and you send cars up." I said, "Who does that?" He said, "I don't know who does it, but it gets done." He said, "And they have to come down Pollard's Hill." So he said, Graham Masters, that was the policeman's name. He said, "You want me to do it?" I said, "Right, okay." I said, "Well, I'll tell you what." I said, "It will go ahead." I said, "And if you come up there," I said, "you're going to have to arrest me. And maybe 200 other people that are there watching the event, all prepared to move out of the way." So I was standing there talking on the microphone and waving the flag. And he come walking through the crowd. He went, "Hello, Dino." I said, "Hello, Graham." He said, "You know what I'm here for, don't you?" I said, "Yep." I said, "Right, ladies and gentlemen, our Old Town Bobby's turned up to get on the bike." He went, "You bastard." I said, "Now, if you want to see a cop on a bike, because you don't see him now on a bike there, if you want to see a cop on a bike," I said, "now's the time you're going to do it." So he said, "I can't do that, dear." I said, "You've got to now." Yeah. I said, "The crowd are looking forward to it." I said, "So put your money in there." I said, "It's worth more than £1 to see a policeman on a bicycle." He went, "You bastard." He said, "You'll have to come with me to the superintendent." I said, "I don't mind that. I don't mind going up there and pleading guilty to raising £300 for charity. I don't mind doing that at all." He said, "Give us that bike." He said, "Hold my helmet." I said, "No, keep your helmet on." He said, "Hold my harness." I said, "Right, okay." And he got on it and up he went down. He said, "I'm off now for a bollocking." But I mean, that's the sort of thing that it happens. You know, what you get away with when you do all your lot. You know,
I couldn't possibly say.
But it's accepted, isn't it? It's just it's 1 week. 1 week of the year, you know.
What did you say? You said, you know, is it us that makes the events or the events that make us? And the fact is, as you say, the people in this area are up for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they're up for it. I mean,
Yeah.
look at, you've only got to look at the popularity of things like Pirate Day. People
Yeah.
are up for it. Though I do wonder whether there's the calendar's full. I do wonder sometimes at what point does the calendar get full and people say, oh no, we've got these things that are the set things we do, and don't try and bring. It's got to come from the community. You can't impose things. That's the thing that we're very strong on.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what else you could do. I mean, I think it's a terrible shame that the village is the old town within a town.
Yeah.
That village isn't supported a bit more by the people in it, because at every event you put on, when you look, it's people from outside that have come to the old town.
Yes.
It's a very small minority of people. Classical example, I went down yesterday morning to the coast of Dunkirk with Tush. I went down with 4 bins and I weeded. Now, I'm not a gardener, I don't know one plant from another. I look on it that if they grow quickly and big, they're weeds. Because flowers don't seem to grow like that.
That's a good system.
Yeah, so I went down, I said to John, we need to go down and we need to clean up that rockery on the front. That rockery, when we first put it in, looked superb.
Yeah, it did.
It's now all overgrown. I went down and I thought, I know that somewhere in the old town there's a man or a lady who hasn't got a garden who would love the responsibility of that.
Yeah.
Once a week, go up there, sit on a chair, take their flask with them, get up, do a bit of gardening, and if they said at the end of it, do they do us a favour, next time you go to France, get us 2 or 3 bottles of wine, I'll do that by all means. So I said to Bev, I said, I'm going to put that in the parish news next time it comes round. There's a gardener looking for a little job, just cleaning up that around there. But the fact that I was there and Tush was there, I'm 76, Tush is 77, he's got a bad back, he's almost deaf, he can't hardly get aboard the boat, and we're doing it with people walking up and down. Not one of them said, do you want a hand? Yeah. And I think that's a terrible shame, because that's the sort of thing I would do. When the Moore radio station gave me a plaque that I got in there, I said, I don't know why I've got this plaque. I don't know who voted for me to win this plaque. I said, I'm the sort of person that if I drive down the Bourne today and there's an old mattress against the wall and no one picks it up and I'll drive down tomorrow and it's still there, I'll pick it up and I'll take it to the tip. Because that's the sort of person I am. That doesn't make me good, doesn't make me any better. I'm just pleased, I'm proud. I was born in 102 Saint Street. So when I lived in the Crescent, I was 300 yards away from the house I was born in. So it's just part of me, part of my nature, part of my makeup. And of course, lots of the people within the old town now are not old towners.
No.
I spoke to one of the guides last year and I said, where are you going now? She said, we're going up to St Clement's Church. I said, in your little party, are you going to tell them about the cannonball? She said, pardon? I said, are you going to tell them about the cannonball in the church? She said, I don't know what you're talking about. She said, but is it a story I should know? I said, if you're an old town guide, yes it is.
Basic.
I said, and do you know about the pub along the road called the Kicking Donkey? She said, what? I said, there was a pub called the Kicking Donkey. She said, why? I said, because there was a young boy kicked to death there. I said, he was buried in Hastings Church. And on his grave it says, I don't know how, it says something like, here lies a boy who in jest teased a donkey and got kicked in the chest.
Yeah.
And he was buried up there.
Yeah.
And that was opposite a pub called the Hole in the Wall, because it was a greengrocer's shop and they illegally sold beer through a hole in the wall. She said, I don't know what you're talking about, Rita. And she's a guide. And I thought, that's it. And she said, there was an advert, when I first sold the tea rooms, there was an advert in the paper. It said, Old Town Guides wanted. So I phoned up this woman at Hastings Museum. I said, what's this job you're advertising? She said, who are you? I said, D.A. White. She said, I would like to talk to you. She said, can I meet you in your tea room? I said, yes, you can. I said, I'm there for another month. She said, no, I'll come down today. When she came down, she said, we're putting a party of 20 people together. They pay £2 a head. This was 20 years ago. They pay £2 a head. You get £1, so you get £20, and we get £20 for the organisation, the insurance, and then you take them out on a 20-minute walk. 5 minutes beforehand, 5 minutes when you come back in case there's any questions. So it takes half an hour, and you will get £20 for half an hour's work. I said, right, okay. Where do I go? She said, you meet at the old town museum.
Yep.
And you then walk down Courthouse Street, up Pollard's Hill to the lookout, and you point out various things over the beach. You go down the steps by the dolphin, along Wackenor, over onto the beach, and then walk back. I said, in 20 minutes? I said, I couldn't do that in 20 minutes. I said, and not only that, I said, I could talk on that route for 2 hours.
Easily.
I said, I would never ever get back in 20 minutes. Oh, she said, well, could you write down what you're going to say so we can cherry pick out what we want? I said, no. I said, you carry on. And I mean, there was a guide that was there, and I listened to him in Courthouse Street, and I thought, I don't know where you come from, but you're certainly not an old town, you don't know what you're talking about. You know, and it's a terrible shame that the old town is going like that now. I don't know what people like my dad and Frowsy and people like that. I said to a bloke the other day, when we was kids, everyone, formal greeting was yo. When you see someone, yo, yo. We had students, when I first got around, we had students. And they was given a questionnaire. And the first question was, what is YOL? And he spelt it Y-O-W-L. And I said, don't you know what that is? He said, no. I said, come outside with me. So we walked down, I lived in number 12, Humphrey Avenue. We walked down into All Saints Street. Coming down the road was one of their fishermen. So I said, say it to him. So this German student went, yo. And he went, yo. And he carried on walking. So he said, I still don't know what it is. I said, it's a formal greeting. He said, but it's a word that I've never heard before. I said, I don't suppose you'll hear it ever again. But now, people don't say it now. You know, it's come and gone now. Of course, there's not many people in the old town now which are old towners.
Not many at all.
No.
Not many at all.
No. But anyway, you happy with that, Keith?
Oh, that's